Hey everybody, it's time to get started working on the IROC to change the carpet. And I think this is going to be a pretty big job, so I'm starting to pick away at it. I'm still working on some of the interior parts. I have a console I'm working on inside, and it's not quite ready yet. But I figure at the same time, in parallel, I'm going to start stripping out the interior. The last thing I did here on the car was work on that speedometer sensor. So it's still up, the back end was still up on ramps. And I knew I was going to have a little bit of a wrestling match with the amplifiers. This car, if you maybe remember back, it had a powerful sound system in it. It had a couple of large amplifiers back in the storage well in the far back here. And I wanted to get those out while I could still get under the car to get at some of the fasteners, because they ran sheet metal screws through the floor, and some of them were stuck. I couldn't get them out, and the last time I worked on this, I didn't want to get them out because I knew the only way to get them out was going to likely be to break fasteners, and that is what happened. I had to pry a little bit. Some of them came out, and some of them I had to use a little leverage on, I'll just put it that way, until I broke them off. But I have quite a mess in here, and I just thought I'd show you that before I go further. So first of all, so if you look at the back end of the car here, this is the rear storage area with the amplifiers removed. I've tagged all the wires so I can put them back if I choose to. And you can see all the red stain. This car, while it was stored, there was a bottle of car wax that was a red colored car wax, I think, to enhance the paint color. And it was left in the back of the car, and it leaked, and it's that carpet underneath underneath where the amplifiers was, especially down in this corner, is just saturated with that oily mess. And it must have been mildly corrosive as well, because it was attacking the bottom of the amplifiers. And I've got those out. Down here, this is what they look like on the bottom side. The Yamaha is quite a mess, and so is the Kenwood, and you can see the oily stuff on the bottom here. And if we flip them over, it's moderately powerful, pretty well for the 80s. It was pretty powerful. I think today we can do a lot better. And there's the Kenwood that is also basically with the radio that I have in the car now. I was using the Kenwood and the Yamaha was off. Near as I can tell from the wiring, I think he had a subwoofer box in the back, and the Yamaha was running a 2-channel by 70 to run the subwoofers. So we'll have to see how this works. I need to consider what radio I want to put in, and perhaps this is the time where I leave these amplifiers out and rewire things and put it back to more of a normal configuration with a radio that's got some power in it. And I don't think I necessarily need these supplemental amps. But that's what I got for now. And then I'm about ready to get the car off the ramps now that I've got this part cleared, and spin it around and start taking out trim so I can get to the carpet. Okay, we've got the car spun around back in its normal direction, and I'm going to begin pulling the panels out in the back and starting to open things up here for this one is Got the spare tire. That comes out pretty easy. It should. Well, I'm moving up more to the front. I haven't pulled these inside panels before, and it seems like it's a layered build. I was able to get a couple off in the back, but it sort of appears that I need to start up here with the trim along the edges and work my way toward the rear. So that's where I'm heading here. I can make this go faster. I'm going to need to take the seatbelt retractor out sooner or later, so I might as well get at it here. Let's see what that's going to take. Here's it. Let's try a 45. Doesn't feel like it fits right. Let's see if this works. No, that's too loose. Got my little box of Ziploc bags here, and everything comes apart. There'll be a lot of fasteners before we're done, so everything's getting labeled and dropped into place. Now let's see if I can get to this kick panel here. I got two of the screws, or one of the screws out. I guess two. Depends on how you count. You would think some of these would be the simplest things to get out, but they're a challenge. Alright. Finally. It's hard to find the screw through all the carpet. Okay. Still think it's odd that I can't get that trim strip off without taking off the seatbelt retractor, but without breaking something. I think that's the way it works. Now I got it loose enough that I can start working on the back trim here. And I need a different socket to get that, or different bit to get that seat belt anchor out. I changed one of the other ones a while back, and I managed to scoot it out with a T50 Torx, but it really didn't fit right. And this one I can't get a T50 in at all. It must be just a little tighter. So I need to find what the right one is. I understand, or I know that there's another series called a Torx Plus, and I sort of think that's going to be the trick, but like most things, I'll have to probably specially order it because they're not available through a local store. Alright, I'm going to try to move inside and do some more work here. One thing about these cars that's really kind of annoying is that the seats will never stay forward. So when you're trying to work, if you don't hold the seat, the thing comes smacking back on you and blocks you, and you got to always keep an elbow on it or something. So I have a long bungee cord that I dug up in my stuff, and attach that bungee cord around the adjuster lever and up to the head restraint. And that seems like it's keeping it up for right now. Now, I have never had the seats out of here, but there's supposed to be a fastener down below here. And it's looks like a 13 millimeter. Usually when I try to do a job like this, I try to do it in a steady process. But right now, it's going to be a mixture of which things I can do with the tools I have on hand, and as I go through here and discover other things, and there's the bolt. As I go through here and discover other things, I will just have to change direction. Okay, so there's the floor pan, and well, there's the seat. Now, how does it? I have to be careful because, as you can see on the floor there's a bunch of glass under there. As many times as I've cleaned this car out, there's always more glass. And so let's see what we got back here. There we go. I think that's it. Velcro. Velcro strip, okay. Which plugs into the carpet. I wasn't quite expecting that, but hey, if that works. So that goes into the cargo layer of carpeting. Alright, well, I'll have some glass to sweep out of here. And then we got some seatbelt anchors. Well, a seatbelt anchor. Part of my challenge is that I think they routed the speaker and stereo wires
through the seat bracket over here, so I need to pick them out of here like one at a time, because the seat is being stuck in here by having those speaker wires. All the stuff, I think all the stuff that goes from the front, from the stereo, comes back here. There's still one more. There it goes. Finally. Whew. All right. Yeah, it's just a pin. Trying to get down there. This is just a pin, and all I had to do was pull the seat off the end of it, but it did not want to go. And it looks like it's been digging in here a little bit, so it was probably good and stuck. Okay, so here I am back on the other side. On the left, let's see if we can get the same thing done here. Okay, got that. Same thing again. Gotta get through the Velcro, huh? It's kind of a novel way to put things together, but it seems like it works. There we go. Well, and there's the accumulation of 30 or 40 years of crud, huh? There's money. Looks like a bumblebee. Oh, he must have been into zigzags, eh? Oh, okay. So we got that. And this looks like they have a pretty good ground back there, ground wire for the amplifiers. I'll bet that's what that is there. It's probably a ground connection. Alright, some more cleaning to do, and this looks like some trim screws. A whole bag of trim screws. Well, I have found a few missing as I go through the car, so maybe he was planning to replace them and just hadn't gotten that far. Can't run my wrist backhanded. Come on. There we go. Just thread that back on there for now. That way it won't get lost. Now let's see if this one will come out a little easier. Let's see if it's making progress. There we go. You just have to wiggle it back and forth until you get it loose. Alright. Well, see, there's one of the spots where there's a trim screw missing. Now, they had this all apart to put in the wiring. Guess as long as I'm over here, I might as well pull out the screws in the door sill. Well, let's see if we can get this side panel out of here. I think I need to do this. Get this coat hook off. Looks like some of my headliner's coming loose. It'll probably be a future project. Alright. That's the coat hook. Now, there, that unclips. Good. That looks like it's in good shape. Well, those look like pretty nice speakers. I mean, I don't have the technical specs in front of me, so hard to say, but they aren't, how do I want to say it? The cones look intact. They aren't torn or broken from age or anything, so that's a good start. This car, the interior is a lot like the engine. If anybody remembers back to when I was working on that, the build is in layers, and this car is in layers. My Mustang, you just go in and you unscrew panels and you take them off. You unscrew the door sills and you take them off. The seats pop out. But this one, you had to take the seat cushion out so you could take the seat back out. So you can take this piece of trim out. So you can take this piece of trim out. It's kind of amazing. I mean, I know they staggered and sequenced the build and so that it would go together the way they wanted, but it's just kind of interesting how much everything ties together this way. I want to slide things apart without tearing them up, so okay, good. So I got this side panel out. That's another step in the right direction. So all the speaker wires and stereo wires come down this side of the car. And these are all the ones that were stuck in my bracket that I wouldn't let me get the seat out. Oh, and I also can't take this one out till I get that bolt out. And that's another one. I think that bolt is, move that out of the way. These bolts are the same size as the seat belt anchors. And I think they truly are not a standard Torx. I think they are indeed the Torx Plus, because when you take a hard look at them, they're straight-sided, they're not tapered. It feels like and looks like, I can't see them from up here, but I think there are a couple of Phillips screws that go underneath this seat. Let's see if I can figure out how to get a screwdriver on them when I can't see them. Oh, there's one. And of course, the screw doesn't want to come loose. Well, I'm going to have to get my, set the camera down and get my head down there and get those out of there. It's going to take a little more work. All right. Well, I got the screws out. I don't know if you can see, yeah, they're not real pretty. This one I think was the worst one. Yeah, that one even doesn't. They don't look so bad now. But I took this extension, which is pretty solid, and put a sharp bit in them, and used a hammer to wedge it in there, just enough to reform the head, and then I was able to use my normal Phillips screwdriver very carefully and get that to back out. So then these covers came off once I got the screws out. Interesting, they look almost the same. I'm going to make sure I keep them separated. But the nut is right there, it's on the right hand side of that rail, and over here it's on the right hand side of this rail as well. Hard to get a look in there, but right there. So I'll set the camera down here so I can get in here with a wrench and get those nuts loose if I can. Set that back. I'm gonna have to get a couple of new screws probably, but I almost should step up a wrench size. This 1/4 inch is kind of that one. Let's see if this wrench will give me enough leverage. There it goes. Now, once I get that one off, then I'll move to the front.